This video is sponsored by Surfshark.
I really think more phones should be like this. Fast, good looking, but also with interesting features in hardware to go along with the AI stuff that you would normally expect from a phone in 2026. Google, Samsung, Apple, and even OnePlus could do bits by taking inspiration from devices like this. And that's what I want to talk about today. Hey guys, I'm Ryan Thomas and this is my full review of the Honor Magic 8 Pro, a device that follows a line of high-end smartphones with great camera hardware and supreme battery life and charging specs. Those are two of the biggest draws to these Magic devices, plus the fact that you can regularly find them discounted with bundles on their website. These are usually fantastic deals, but more on that after a quick word from today's sponsor.
What's almost become a staple of a mobile phone toolkit these days has to be a VPN. And not only does Surfshark work on our beloved Android, but also macOS, iOS, Windows and more, Surfshark lets you activate on unlimited devices and access servers across 100 locations worldwide. It not only allows you to secure your connection via tunneling your traffic, but it also lets you use websites that are typically geo-locked or even access content that's only available on other versions of services like Netflix. Or if you're a Premier League fan like me, being able to go on holiday and log into the normal services you typically watch the game on is so easy with Surfshark. There are different plans to suit your use case, so check out the link in the video description to see what works best for you and to get Surfshark for yourself. And a big thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring today's content.
What is the Magic 8 Pro? Well, it starts off as a high-end Android as you'd expect. Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, 12 gigs of RAM, 512 gig of UFS 4.1 superfast storage. This is the Chinese model with a 7100 mAh battery, but global versions get 6270 mAh. There's 120 watt wired charging in China, but 100 watts everywhere else, along with 80 watt wireless charging. Yes, 80 watt wireless charging, a big high-resolution 120Hz LTPO OLED, and 4 total cameras on the back. So it's kind of like a Galaxy Ultra competitor, but with a bit more going on in the spec sheet. But it has a few interesting details and specs that make the total package a lot more interesting than what is currently coming out outside of China. For one, the camera hardware is unbelievably impressive. Its 50 megapixel main camera is about the right size, about the same thing that you'd find in a Pixel Pro or an iPhone Pro Max, but with an f1.6 aperture which enables fantastic low light performance and great dynamic range in all kinds of scenarios actually. There's plenty of detail across the scenes, but I'd wager that some might find it a little bit overly punchy with the colours and contrast. The HDR is also very aggressive here. The ultra-wide is a 50 megapixel 1/2.88 inch sensor, so a little bit smaller than what you might find in those aforementioned Western models, but it's actually still very, very capable and comparable in quality, I'd say, to those other models as well. It can struggle to pick up detail in low light, which makes sense given it's a smaller sensor, but I think overall it's pretty decent. The star of the show here though is definitely that 200 megapixel 1/1.4 inch 3.7x telephoto camera that almost matches the size of the main camera in sensor size, but with a deeper focal length and an f2.6 aperture. What this translates to is a telephoto camera that can capture heaps of detail when zooming in, give you some nice natural blur and compression with out of focus elements, something that traditional 5x cameras on like the Pixels and the iPhones just really cannot do to the same level. And Honor's AI zoom tech, much like the Pixels and even OnePlus's, lets you take photos from really far away, put that blurry image through an AI generation box, and then spit out an image that looks fairly similar to what you thought you were taking a picture of in the first place. This seems to be a trend of a lot of smartphone cameras these days, and I think you'll find it eventually on Samsungs and iPhones as well. You can disable it if you want to, so you can just leave it outside of AI mode. And personally, I will be sticking to the less dramatic but more realistic shots from around 3.7 to 10 times. Going beyond that, they get a bit blurry, and from 30 times onwards, obviously you can make them AI generated. So I would say that this is fairly usable up to around 20 times, but you can have a little play around and see where you get with it. There are various ancillaries, including a pretty good selfie camera, some really high quality Ultra HD 4K video that goes up to 120 FPS, and various slow motion and other modes in the camera app. I wish we saw more of this in the Samsung, Google and Apple phones. You know, big lenses, big sensors, and that drive to push on and innovate in camera hardware. The same goes for the battery though. At 6270 mAh, sure, it's not a OnePlus 15 competitor, but it's also over 20% larger than what you'll find in the Galaxy Ultra. And my Chinese model here is the 7100 mAh version. It's not far off OnePlus's. It's silicon carbon, of course, and just like those, this thing is an absolute beast when it comes to longevity. I mean, the Magic 8 Pro is easily a 2-day phone. This one is basically a 3-day phone for me, and it comes with a 100-watt brick in the box. So if I forget to charge it overnight for some reason, I can top it up in the morning when I'm brushing my teeth and going to the bathroom, and then suddenly I've got a day's worth of charge in this phone. I really don't have to think about it more than that. This sort of charging, you know, what you'll find on Oppos, Vivos, OnePluses, is so useful that it's really hard to leave and go back to what we were seeing in sort of the Pixel, the Ultra and the iPhone Pro. Not because we need our phones to charge super fast all the time overnight, but just when we forget to charge or we haven't fully plugged that into the wall and we just need a quick boost in the morning, that's where this thing comes into its own. The charging innovation and battery tech for me just needs to come to the Pixel, the iPhone and the Galaxy sooner rather than later. And there's some innovation in the external hardware too. Like a lot of phones coming out of China at the moment, we have IP69K to go along with the IP68 rating that you'll find on most high-end phones. IP69K is the highest current ingress protection rating. So basically it's dust proof, it can take a dunk in the pool like the other versions would, but with 69K it can also take high pressure water jets. So like if you're washing the car, for example, if you blast the phone with it, it's unlikely to really get into any kind of danger. The hardware itself feels really nice, but having that extra peace of mind for a device that costs over £1,000 should really be the standard in Western phones as well, in my opinion. Then there's this camera control slider thing on the side. It's very Apple-like. It functions very similarly actually. Honor calls it the AI button. I know, right? And there are options in the menu to customize the function of it. It's not just for the camera. But in reality, I don't know if anyone was really asking for this, and if you'd really want it, I personally disabled it after my little review period. The screen and performance don't require much talking about, mostly because, well, it's an Honor Magic device, so it's going to be pretty good actually. The Magic 8 Pro is as comfortable gaming as it is doom scrolling, as it is playing your favorite podcast or music. That's just what the 8 Elite Gen 5 does, and the screen is fantastic as well. As with every phone that comes through here, this one isn't perfect. I like the slightly curved screen edges, but I know that's not for everyone. The trend at the moment is to have a completely flat display. And macOS 10 isn't a blatant copycat of iOS in its visual design, but it's very similar and something that Honor has been doing for a few years at this point. But since we saw a pretty radical shift in design from the last iOS to this one, it just accentuates itself more with Honor's design in its software. It's certainly very functional and it works, and I know that many will be turned off by the sheer size of that camera bump as well. I mean, it's massive, but put a case on it like this one and it's relatively minimized, I guess. And for me, it is worth having a larger camera bump if the hardware inside is genuinely better than what you would normally get. The punch hole as well is, well, it's closer to what Apple is doing, isn't it? It's to include the secure face unlock system, which includes extra sensors along with the selfie camera. And I don't think I love it, but I would also say that after about 3 minutes, my eyes just stopped looking at it. It just didn't make a big difference to my user experience of this phone. But I understand that it might turn people off from the start. That said, the ultrasonic in-display fingerprint reader is fantastic. The speakers offer a surprising amount of low end. I found Wi-Fi and LTE connectivity to be absolutely spot on, even though this is the Chinese model. And the Honor Magic 8 Pro is a really solid option for those that have access to it because it's not available in North America. I just wish more phones took hardware cues from it, because a Pixel, iPhone or Galaxy with these cameras and this battery life and this charging tech would be absolutely elite. Guys, what do you make of the Magic 8 Pro? Have you been on the Honor train over the last few years? Because their phones have been pretty good for like 2 or 3 generations now. Anyway, whilst you're down there in the comments section, be sure to like if you enjoyed today's content and subscribe to never miss another upload. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas and I'll catch you later. Cheers.